Hey everyone, I'm Jonathan Rabb, the founder of YardCon, and today we've got an exciting exclusive YardCon opportunity for HBCU students to interview NBA superstar Chris Paul. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm all right, John. How about you?
I'm doing great, and this is like really exciting. You ready for the interview?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, so first up we have Joy Shipman from Winston-Salem State University, who's studying sports management. She's going to be asking you questions about HBCUs and your connection to home. Joy, I'm going to pass it off to you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Chris, how are you doing today?
Yeah, what's up, Joy? How you doing?
I'm doing good. So my first question is, from your book, we learn you have a strong tie to Winston-Salem State. So what made you go back and pick Winston-Salem State University for school?
I mean, it was an easy choice for me. I'm not even sure is that I chose Winston-Salem State. It's almost like Winston-Salem State chose me. That's home. That's home. Growing up, my grandfather's service station was right down the street from Winston-Salem State. I used to be at Winston-Salem State. I went to a computers and math and science academy when I was a kid at Winston-Salem State. My mom went there for a little bit. My dad went there for a little bit. And so I knew that when I wanted to graduate, and I knew when I wanted to do it from an HBCU, I knew that Winston-Salem State was the only choice.
Nice. So what inspired you, outside of picking Winston-Salem State, what inspired you to become an advocate for HBCUs, and how did your experience at Winston-Salem State contribute to that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Where are you from, Joy?
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina.
You're from Charlotte. Okay. So for me, being born and raised in Winston-Salem, and you probably too from Charlotte, you've been exposed to HBCUs your whole life, right? So for me, I was always around A&T, Winston-Salem State, Central, Livingstone, all these different HBCUs. So when I was coming up as a kid, I didn't know that there was a difference really between Winston-Salem State and Wake Forest. I never really understood that until I got older. And then after I went to the NBA, I really started to dive into why the different HBCUs don't have the same curriculum that's offered at some of the PWIs. And that's what it's really about. It was about trying to give a bigger voice to some of these colleges and universities and trying to level the playing field.
That's actually I love that answer because it kind of ties into my next question. In your opinion, what is the most important issue that you think HBCUs are facing today? And what can students and advocates do to help address those issues?
That's a really good question. And I'm always trying to find out, how I can do my part and help. I think one of the biggest things is funding, right? And it's one of those things where a lot of times we have people championing these HBCUs and obviously wearing the hoodies and the gear and all this different type stuff. It's definitely all good and well to bring awareness, but finance is crucial too, right? So we need that aid, we need that support financially so that some of these colleges and universities have the proper dorm rooms. It's not just the sports facilities, but making sure that you have the proper housing for the students so that you can have the different curriculum and make sure that you got some of these top teachers and everyone's not trying to leave to go to some of these bigger schools. So I would say funding would probably be the number one issue.
Absolutely. So in your book, you talk about Coach Prosser, if I pronounced that correctly, and the impact that he had on you. Can you share some of the most valuable lessons that you learned from him?
Absolutely. My college coach, Skip Prosser, he passed away after my second year in the NBA. It was one of the toughest things I dealt with because when you're growing up and you're being coached all the time, you can have all these different coaches, right? My dad coached me. I had all different types of coaches, but my college coach was a little different. He just saw something in me to where he not only pushed me to be better, he challenged me. He would come on one of my high school games and I'd score 40 points. And while everybody was telling me I was the best thing since sliced bread, he would look at me and be like, "You don't play no defense." you know? So he just always pushed and challenged me. I mean, something that seemed small, but when I would walk into his office and he would ask me how I was doing, I have my book bag on. I'd be like, I'm good, coach. I'm good. And he would like roll his eyes and look up at me. He'd be like, it's well. I'm well. And he would tell me that's proper English. And so he just had so many sayings. He said, never delay gratitude. He used to always be like, don't be a 2 to 4 guy, be a 4 to 2 guy. You know, and he just, if you can't be on time, be early. So there were so many things that he instilled in me at that age.
I love it. I love it. I used to play basketball too, so I understand the non-defense too.
Right.
So my next question is, you launched the Players TV, which is a platform for athletes to create content. What do you believe makes compelling content, like things that you would want to watch? And what advice do you have for aspiring content creators?
We launched Players TV so that players could actually have more control of their own content instead of just giving it to all these big networks. Because I'm sure you've heard everybody say it before, content is king. I think content that I'm always interested in, especially in being a professional athlete, is seeing why guys are the way that they are, right? Like we get a chance to see a guy perform in a game for this hour and a half, 2 hours. You might get to see him walking into the arena or whatnot, but I'm always interested in what is a guy doing the day before the game? What is a guy doing that morning? What does the guy's recovery look like? You know, I think that's the thing that people always want to see is the behind the scenes, different type of action, the things that everybody don't necessarily know. Everybody knows how well you play when you show up, but I think it's always cool to see the preparation that goes into it.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So my last question is, what advice would you give college students and early professionals who want to become more involved in advocating for HBCUs and supporting these institutions?
Yeah, that's a really good question. My biggest advice would be to like dive in, like be proactive, right? And when I say be proactive, you know, everything that's going on here at YardCon, you know what I mean? Like this is amazing, right? Like I look at Watch the Yard all the time. Like I follow all the different HBCU Instagram pages and whatnot. And I think sometimes you just got to ask. You got to ask. You got to reach out to some of these people who are really out here growing and doing the work, and see how can you help. See how can you be involved. And I think if we get more people just being proactive and not waiting for somebody to necessarily tell them what to do or how to do it, we'll start getting more things done.
Well, I appreciate you for answering my questions. Thank you so much for your time. It was great speaking with you.
No, thank you.
Thanks.
Joy. What class are you?
I'm a junior. I graduate next year.
All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Joey, your questions were great. Thank you for doing those. Now, Chris, I thank you for jumping on this call, talking to us. Like you are truly an HBCU advocate. We see the work you're doing. I know you have a busy schedule. Thank you so much for spending time.
Man, I appreciate you, Jonathan. Thank y'all. Really appreciate y'all.
Yeah. So on behalf of YardCon, on behalf of Advertising Week, and on behalf of Watch the Yard, we just want to thank you so much. Thanks for coming through.
No problem. Appreciate y'all.